Joyce, welcome Queen Victoria, welcome King George, welcome Queen Veronique, welcome everybody, welcome one more time. You are welcome. I greet you diplomatically from MBN's local studio here in Cameroon in Central Africa. I welcome you to MBNK TV News, the channel whose mission is to contrast the facts of the world with the truth of the kingdom. Yes. Subscribe if you have just arrived on the page. Follow us on YouTube and Twitter. And let's go, let's go, let's go. Remember that since last week, we have been wondering about blessing and curse. We have talked in abundance about what blessing and curse is. This allowed us to understand that we are in a very broad subject. Therefore, remember that we have 6 episodes on this series concerning the curse and the blessing. Stay tuned on this second episode. So, I encourage you to go deep on these issues, blessed or cursed. What is the history of your people? What is your future in the territory where you settle with your children? Let me see from where you are listening us from, and let's go further about the topic of blessing and curse. Do you know that blessing and curse affect the course of your life? About the favor and the disfavor. The Bible is filled with blessings and curses that describe the course of people's lives. These blessings and curses are seen through the events that afflict these peoples, whether these events are positive or negative. Here are some examples. Let me give you some examples about blessings and curses concerning the lives of people. We have the people of Israel, whom God wanted to make his model for the establishment of the kingdom on earth. He made a powerful alliance with the founders of this people, and because of the waters, he always had a look at them. Yes, we have peoples who had inappropriate and inconceiving attitudes for the people, for the whole human species as God conceived it in his mind. These peoples have been humiliated, destroyed, or simply threatened for change. I take the example of Sodom and Gomorrah. I take the example of Nineveh. I take the example of Jericho. You can see all these examples in the Bible. Read the Bible, it's really important. Let me give you some implications of this factor, the factor that the blessing and curse affect the course of life. Firstly, the blessing of a people always depends on a man at the beginning. For remember that it is from the kidneys of a man and a woman that an entire people can come. So if you have the impression that your people are victims of catastrophes of all kinds, seek to know clearly the hidden history behind the origin of your people, and when the Holy Spirit has revealed it to you, pray fervently that the kingdom will replace these evil spells on your people. Don't shut up until things change. Blessing and curse are voluntary choices of life. That is always represented in Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 26. You can see that God is giving us many blessings and many curses to, to be in the welfare or in the bad fare in the living of a people. So let me now clarify something that is really important. A blessing is marked by its culture. The culture of a people is based on the social, political, economic influence that is based on the course of the life of generations. These influences are one with human DNA and transform man in depth to make you the Cameroonian or maybe the American or the Spanish that you are today. So, let me explain. Each of us is the product of all the mistakes and successes of our families, our friends, the many governments before us, and our own experiences and the experiences before us since many generations. So, God's blessing and curse come from the quality. Now, when you live your life, know that you are a victim. It is really important. You are victim of having grown up in a society where we do not value the place of men. You are victim of the fact that you are in a corrupt government. You are victim of the fact that you are in a society that sheds blood. You are victim of the fact that you are in a society full of single mothers with several children from different parents. You are victim of the fact that you are in a nation that values a natural relationships. So all these things subject your nation to death and curse over generations and generations. So you can imagine that the ignorance of the peoples making its way. The generations perpetuate and aggravate the weight of these curses. This is also why you can see that countries sink into blood and war, famine and corruption, severe natural and economic disasters, as you can see with COVID-19. Yes, that is a real example of what is happening right now and what is happening concerning a big curse on the earth. So God warned against all this. I speak to you again because know it. It is really important. Capitalism is a planetary curse that has affected the mentality of men of men and women for years because it pushes men to seek more and more for a dishonest and sordid gain by all means. Remember that in Deuteronomy chapter 25, the Lord said that you will have an exact and just weight. You will have an exact and just purpose, so that your days may be extended on the year that the Lord your God gives you. You can see that when all laboratories are working on the vaccine against COVID-19, they are in front of the justice because they are they are add many money on the real price of the vaccine to give it to the people, and that is a big curse because you know that firstly COVID-19 is a curse, but to add money on the real price to give it to help people to be safe of COVID-19 is another big curse. So it is even an abomination not to have an exact scale. We will talk about abomination later because we have a great difference concerning, we have a great difference between a curse, a simple curse, but you know that a curse is not really simple, but a simple curse and an abomination. So look at the policies for caring for people who are destitute, people gain on the business of orphans, and again on the management of widows' wealth rights. Remember that God said that woe to the one who oppresses the widow and the orphan. Well, you yourself see that the Constitution says in permanence, woe to him. But imagine that the one in question is several million people. So at that moment, a system is born around what is cursed and repressed by the oldest constitutional law in the world. So then the curse falls on your country, your nation, your people, and so on. Abominations about people. Right now, we are talking about abominations about people. The Constitution speaks sufficiently of the term abomination to characterize the greatest excesses that the earth must avoid in order not to suffer a heavier condemnation or even total disappearance. Abomination is a thing that causes disgust and hatred to God. This is what is horrible in the eyes of the law. Because of it, God will definitely not take a look at your nation until you stop the massacre. So, abomination is in the Constitution when you are reading Deuteronomy chapter 25 and chapter 18. You can see that peoples who worship and pray before statues of all kinds by representing earthly beings, celestial beings, and all forms of unknown beings, he even speaks of extreme horror. People who eat dead animals that have not been slaughtered properly. Also, the multiplication of meat cells is an abomination that affects the longevity of your people and yours in particular. Yep. Same-sex relationships that are a legendary abomination and that in this era threaten the quality of genetic succession and the perpetuation of humanity in a higher quality. The fact that a woman wants to disguise herself as man and that a man wants to disguise himself as a woman or to change sex, this is an extreme abomination in the eyes of God. It calls scandal and death on the people who encourage this. Peoples where lies, corruption, deceit, and bloodshed are abominating to the Lord. Perverse men, animated by all kinds of disquieting passions such as pedophilia, zoophilia, and all the science that distort genetics and sexuality are abominating to the Lord. So, in all Leviticus chapter 18, read this. God says that this abomination make the land where you live unclean and impurity. And you know that impurity is equivalent to lack of honorability. So we cannot praise those who do so. It's impossible. You are not honorable when you are committed an abomination. So God said that souls who do these things will be cut off from their people. If you travel and subsettle in a foreign country and copy the abominations of a people, then know that you are as much in abomination in the eyes of the Lord as they are if you are living like them. And happiness does not await you. So, my end tip for this plugin of today is read the Bible to save your generations, to save yourself. In the countries where you are living, maybe you choose a foreign country to live in. Maybe you are live in your natural country. So read the Bible. Pray the Holy Spirit to understand really what is the history hidden of 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 your country, of your people. It is really important to know where you are coming from, really. Or in the countries where you have decided to settle, it is really important to know what is happening with all these people. So it was Ambassador Gabriel Ambala on MBNK TV News. I'll tell you next Thursday on this subject for the third episode. Let's see ourselves at the top where Eagles lives. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you can write us in our comment box on Facebook. You can ask us any question if you want. Let us see at the top where eagles are living.